Yo guys, what's up? It's Blackguard here and welcome to a new video. So, as you know guys, I'm a Tekken coach for a long time now, and I've helped a lot of students improve in their ranks, but I decided to starting this new series. I don't know how many episodes now that we concluded our season 3 characters, in which basically I try to give you some tips to try and improve in ranked, okay, because a lot of you guys that text me for coaching, I have some of these problems, okay, and today we're gonna talk about something that is very important and one of the best reasonings to talk about in this game, that is stance management. I think that this is very important to talk about because a lot of people think, okay, now I'm gonna use a move, now I'm gonna use stance, now I always gotta match in stance and so on. And a lot of people that I coach had this problem a lot. So basically the stances in this game are very good, but unfortunately, the stances always make you flowchart a lot, in my opinion. But today I'm going to try to show you what I mean with this and how we're going to try to change this kind of behavior, because really, guys, I think this is one of the main reasons that's probably going to help you out, especially if you play a character with stances. So, a lot of people that are stuck in blue ranks, basically, and now I'm going to use Victor as an example, always have the bad tendency of always committing into something out of stance. So what does it mean? So basically, I don't know, like, let's say Victor does run into, for example, okay? Everybody, every time that you are, I don't know, playing in blue ranks, for example, let's say with Victor, but this applies with every character, we do run into stance all the time. All the time. And once you go into stance, every time you mash something. Every time you mash something out of the stance. I think this is bad. I've said this multiple times already. I also told this to my students and the ones who make this kind of problem. Always committing to stance and always pressing something out of stance doesn't make you improve, because you always are committing to something on block, and you're not creating real mix-ups. Because part of the mix-ups in using the stances is changing the way and, you know, trying different variations of the way you approach. What do I mean by this? For example, even if you're wrong, because most people think that maybe it's wrong to do this, or maybe they're not rewarded enough to do this. But the fact is that you shouldn't always commit to a reward when you use your stances, in my opinion. For example, again, let's say the Victor case, okay? What can you do out of run into? Let's say run into. Okay, run into. We run into, you can do. Run into. Run into stance. Run into stance and then cancel. Run into stance and then cancel like this into forward. Okay. Run into stance and then you delay your options. Maybe to catch someone sidestepping. Run into stance and then you match this time automatically. You see where I'm going? Every single one of these things, it's a choice, and every single one of these things is gonna change both your timing and also the opponent's timing in trying to defend from this move. For example, I don't know, if you sometimes go into stance and sometimes you don't go into stance, of course, first of all, you're not like jailed to be in a stance, because from stance you only can do limited amounts of options. Instead, if you do run into right like this, you can do the world potentially. You can do, I don't know, into down for 1, even though it's probably gonna get stepped here. Okay, of course, because plus 2 it's not like a lot, but still you can do a low, for example, down 4. I don't know, a down 4 like this. Okay, so you have a world of possibilities. Instead, again, a lot of people that are stuck blue ranks a lot of times are consistently jailed to do these fucking stances. And again, also, for example, the fact that sometimes you don't mash automatically also lets you see how your opponents respond to the stuff you do. For example, let's say, again, I don't know this, and I do this into let's say a linear option. Of course, Kuma is not the best example because Kuma's sidestep is kind of trash. Let's see with another example. Okay, let's see Lily. Okay, because Kuma's sidestep is not very good. Okay, let's see, for example, what happens with leading. If we do this into automatic... no, wait. Side step... sidewalk, sorry. Sidewalk right. Ah, this tracks. Sidewalk left. Okay, sidewalk left, sorry. So, for example, okay, you see that, for example, if you mindlessly mash... the one, it's gonna get stepped. But if instead next time you wait, and you realign as well, this time she's gonna get countered even though she stepped. Okay, so that's what I mean with mindlessly doing something without thinking. Okay, instead, for example, again, part of like, for example, yeah, you see, part of the things I'm doing here, again, if I do this automatically, get stepped, the two. But now, if I wait because I think about her stepping, I can realign and do something again to track. Okay, don't mindlessly, and I say mindlessly, go into stance and do something every single time. I want to show you a replay that I think showcases very well what I mean. I'm gonna use Victor again to try and show you what I mean, and how changing the way you approach is always very, very important. It should be in my saved replays. Let's see. Should be my saved replays. Yeah, here we go. The one against very good Azucena player Caneo. Because when I played this game, I said, okay, this is going to be very useful for my video. Because I actually thought about this already. So now in this gameplay, I try to do the stuff that I'm telling you now, okay? About not committing always into stance. So let's see. Okay, let's watch this replay together. Okay, so a bit broken throw. Okay, so this time I go into stance. This time I mesh. This time, the first time I want to see what he does in stance. And he stays patient this time. He goes into stance again. This time, for example, I cancel. I cancel the stance. For example, here he was basically holding back. But I didn't want to risk because basically, I don't know, I was scared of a sidestep or something. So the first layer of conditioning is that this time I didn't do anything into stance. I just cancelled. And then, as you can see, my timing shift, because of course he had to realize I was doing something. He had to realize that I cancelled the stance. He was already ready to block something from stance, but I cancelled the stance. So I do that down two, like this. And I got him into a timing mix-up. Run into. This time I don't go into stance. Run into. Up back two. Of course, again, very broken moves, of course. Up back two. This time, I go into stance. So, this, again, is part of the conditioning, because this time, he was thinking that I was doing something. I was not going to do something out of stance. So it was trying to do something to counter me. But this time I did something out of stance instead. I do the full option and he punishes. Okay. He gets me here. Okay. Here yeah, good round from him, of course. I lost this round. Okay, let's go on. I just want to show you this particular thing. Okay. For example, you see that him, instead, he's always committing to something out of the stance, by the way, for example, okay? Again, this is not wrong always, but run into. This time, I go into stance. And this time, I commit to something in the stance. 4-1 plus 2. Vabbè, te exposiste. Okay. Let's see, very patient here, very patient. I ducked, but I didn't punish. Okay, vabbè, here, I counter it. Okay. So, for example, you see also the fact that, for example, here, forward 3. Most people, when using Victor, most people don't even think that Victor has Perfumer into Yai. They do immediately something out of Perfumer. Again, part of the mix-up is always doing something different. As you can see, until now, I never used Perfumer into Yai. Now I did. Because it's something he never saw before, probably, in this match. And in fact, he was kind of scared of what am I gonna do? He was holding back, then down. He was confused. That's the thing. Creating confusion. For example, here, I could have also tried maybe to cancel Yai to create even more mix-up. But here, I do something out of the stance. And then I cancel the stance. Here, unfortunately, I don't know why. I was a little bit too panicky. But here, for example, I condition him to press. If I were a little bit patient here, since I canceled the stance, I would have punished his disposition, because he really got a little bit panicky here. Okay? You see how he's always committing into stance. So I'm always a little bit prepared of what he's doing. Here, for example, I expected him to do a health sweep. Okay? He's never changing this fact of changing the stances and so on for now. So I punish him. And here again, I delay my option. This time, as you can see, when I go into stance, let's see. I go into stance here. I wait. I don't do something immediately because it's part of changing, again, as always, the timing. And I do a delayed... This is not a hit smash from stance. This is a standing hit smash. My stance was already over here. So here we go. Hit smash. Here we go. Here he whiffed, I could have punished. This time I commit into stance into something, and I got it, and I get him with 1-2. Round 3. So here we go. Let's see another 2 rounds, maybe another something like this. Okay. Okay, 1+2 again. Have a counter it, have a combo. This time, for example, when I go into stance, let's see, 2-1-2-2 stance cancel. Into neutral again, into running 1+2, into stance, into cancel again, into down 2, into this, stance, into cancel, this time into the other stance, into this time I commit, and you see all of these variations are basically fucking his mind, okay? So he's getting a little bit confused, he's getting a little bit panicky, now he's doing Texposiste there, and I did something to control his Texposiste there. Into neutral again, into running 2. This time I go into stance, this time I cancel. Now it's like, you see all of what I mean. This is a very clear example of what I mean. So guys, that's basically what I wanted to tell you today. And this is, I think, a very important tip. I'm gonna give you other tips. I'm gonna make other videos like this. Because of course, again, I'm seeing a lot of people making these kind of mistakes when I coach them. So maybe, I don't know, tell me if you like this kind of videos. I'll make more of these if you want. And if you have characters that are based a lot around stances, try to change your perspective on these things, okay? And I don't know, like, tell me a little bit what you think. I love you guys. Thanks everybody for watching me as always. I don't know, if you like this kind of videos, I'll make definitely more of these soon. Take care and see you guys very soon again. Take care. Love you. Bye.